Hey guys, this is Scott from the Forgot to Grow podcast. Welcome to another edition of ReWatching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Today I'm going to be talking about Season 1, Episode 22, the beginning of the end, the Season 1 finale. It's taken a few episodes for us to get here, but we're finally here, and it's such a big episode. But as I do for every episode, guys, I'm just going to start you off with the IMDb, but the Wikipedia, not the IMDb, plot summary for this episode, just so you have an idea of what happened. Then I'm going to be talking about some of the foreshadowing and Easter egg elements I noticed, as well as just general thoughts about this episode. So let's just dive right in with that plot summary to begin. So that says, at Cyber Tech, Quinn begins his presentation to military officials, only for Garrett to interrupt and kill one of them. Avoiding the Centipede soldiers, Coulson and his team attack the Cyber Tech facility, with S.H.i.E.L.D. saving Ace, May defeating Ward, and Coulson confronting Garrett. Nick Fury rescues Fitz and Simmons, though Fitz is barely alive, before joining with Coulson to face Garrett, who is ultimately dispatched by Peterson, who, when he learns that S.H.I.E.L.D. has saved Ace. Peterson's unable to face his son and goes off on his own to redeem himself. Fury expresses his respect for Coulson, who he sees as an Avenger, and appoints him as the new director of S.H.I.E.L.D., leading the team to a secret base run by Agent Billy Koenig. Raina delivers a picture of S.H.I.E.L.D. to a mysterious man, telling him she has found his daughter. Later, Coulson awakes in the middle of the night and begins exhibiting signs of the same enhanced mental capacities and fixation that Garrett experienced, compulsively carving strange symbols into a wall. So that's the Wikipedia summary for this episode, guys, but a lot happened. They wrapped up this very first season. I think they did a great job of just putting a big bow into this first season and wrapping up all the different storylines that it had initially started. Maybe not all, but a good number of those storylines that it had started, along with Garrett, with Ward, and Coulson, and the whole team and everybody, and we finally got a resolution to this. And I really love this episode. I think it's one of the best season finales among the whole show and among lots of TV shows, because it's just so great. I love that it's not a cliffhanger ending per se, because we're not on the edge of our seats being like, well, like they're not in the middle of a conflict, but they do leave little bits that were like, oh, well, we want to keep watching. Why is Coulson carving this thing? What's going on with S.H.I.E.L.D.'s parents? So I really love the way that it's a minor cliffhanger, but not like a big one. They didn't end it on like, oh, is Garrett actually back? Is he not? Like, I like that they, ended a bunch of the problems, and then, the cliffhanger is you just want to keep learning about more about these, the team and their story, and each of these characters and their growth and stuff like that. But some of the things I have written down for this, I like that at the beginning we see how Cybertech has been controlling the different Centipede soldiers. It's a call center pretty much, where they bunch of different technicians at freaking cubicles just directing them, which I think is kind of on point. It kind of makes sense to me. I'm just like, oh, well, that makes sense. Yeah, somebody controlling them all, and the most practical way is just, stick them all in a bunch of offices. But I like that they kind of show that aspect, and they kind of hint towards this incentive program throughout the show, and then they don't explain it till the very end when you see, oh, the incentive programs is they've been holding, I guess, different family members hostage, and that's how they're getting that. It was a little weird exactly how that worked, but maybe I missed something, guys. Let me know in the comments below if you understood the incentive program a little bit more than I did, because to me it just seems like it was blackmail. They're like, yeah, we're gonna blackmail you to come work for us. Is that what I feel like I missed something. Let me know in the comments below, guys, if you have a little bit better idea of what was going on with them. But yeah, so a bunch of things we kind of missed in the summary that happened in this episode I really like. I like how we start off with the team having to fight off the Centipede soldiers and Hydra, and we see May taking on the Asgardian staff again and just kicking some butt, bringing the house down. I don't like that she just throws it away at the end, though. Like, it kind of makes sense, you can't have the team overpowered with that kind of thing. She could just run around kicking butt all day long with that, but it's also not healthy for her too. So I just thought maybe it would have been a better idea for her to, not throw it at the Hydra guys, but at the same time, a whole building fell on top of it, so it's not like they're getting it very easily. What else do I have written down? Oh, we see Garrett, he starts to flex his powers throughout this episode. I really like the way that Garrett's character just is really like embracing his powers, and everyone's like, dude, you're going crazy. And he's like, I'm not crazy, I can just see more than you guys can. And Raina's the only one that kind of believes him, and he is kind of kooky, but he does have this kind of, he just understands, and I get that, but I really like that they kind of, how they play off his, new abilities and how he's kind of interpreting them, and the fact that Bill Paxton just does a great job of playing John Garrett. And I really love how they have, they end off with, he gets a fight a little bit, him and Peterson don't really fight. Mike Peterson just kind of turns and blows him up and kicks his butt. But I like that they end off the episode with a kind of double take. You think he's dead, then you see that him crawling, he gets all the Deathlock stuff put onto him, and then Coulson walks in and just blows him up with the one object from Peru. Was that what country it was? The object from like second episode, I believe. The object of unknown origin. But yeah, he uses that to blow it up, which I just really like that it was kind of just that funny double take. They could have just left it at Mike Peterson having killed him, but I like that they kind of just like, oh no, he survived, that takes a little bit more, but then they 100% kill him when they blow him up with that 084. 084? Yeah, 084. But with some other stuff I have written down, Garrett starts with the alien writing. He calls it the words of creation at one point, which I'm just like, I always forget exactly where the writing leads to in this. I know it somehow leads to the to like S.H.i.E.L.D. becoming an Inhuman and the Terrigenesis and stuff like that, but I can never remember exactly that timeline, which is why I'm really excited to get to rewatching the second season, because I feel like the second season's probably the season I've rewatched the least because of that storyline. I'm just recalling, it just fell into a weird area. Anyways, what else do I have written down? We see the gravitonium. We hear that we see Garrett says that he can see through it, he can see the soul of it, which I think is kind of interesting considering there's a few people in there right now. So it's kind of interesting, and it's interesting to see that Quinn ends up getting to leave with it, or him and Raina get to leave with it before Garrett goes completely, over the top at the end and the S.H.I.E.L.D. team takes all over. What else do I have written down? I like that we finally get, it's adorable, we finally get Fitz and Simmons confessing their feelings for each other, being like, you're more than just a friend, Simmons, Fitz says to Simmons, which I just really like the way they played that whole scene, because, Fitz is just like, I couldn't find the courage to tell you, so just let me show you. And I just really enjoyed that scene. I thought they did a really good job with that. And I really just enjoy where it goes from here, where we see Fitz having to recover from this and having some of that resentment towards Ward that we see throughout the next season. Some other stuff I have written down, trying to sell to the government. Yep. What will I become? Raina says to Garrett at one point, what will I become? Nice little foreshadowing to her eventually being an Inhuman and going through Terrigenesis, and then her not being very happy at first with what her transformation was. I like that little bit of foreshadowing we got there. The Coulson and Garrett fight was not very much to it because, Coulson couldn't do much, but I really like that Coulson goes in full board and just gets thrown across, and he's always got some sarcastic comment to come back being like, oh, that's new. And then, Fury comes in and helps save the day, which I'm really glad that they brought him in for this last episode, for this season finale. Just a real great way to kind of cap off the season, just with that final tie, that final little nod to the MCU, and the nod that, at least Coulson now knows for sure that Nick Fury isn't dead in the MCU, and I like that connection. What else do I have written down? Last few things. You did tell me that he went this crazy. I just like that line from Nick Fury to Coulson, which that whole scene between the three of them, Garrett, Coulson, well, I guess four of them because Mike Peterson's there too, but I just really like that scene in general at the end just because it's so funny and sarcastic. They're all just quipping at each other. There's barely any fighting happening, but I enjoy it because they're all kind of like, the two of them know they can't take on these two super soldier guys, but at the same time they're like, we can't just not do anything, so they're going to quip at them, and I enjoy that. We see Mike's son finally get saved, and Deathlock comes back to the side of good, and he has to go off and redeem himself, which that's a nice little storyline, a nice little end to, or cap off to the first season of Mike Pierce's storyline. I know he still is a recurring character throughout the whole show. He pops up a few more times to help out the team, but I like that he's at least not under the control of anybody anymore, and he's going off, and he knows that he's got to make up for what he's done, and so he's going to go do that. That's nice. What else do I have left? So Ward's captured, Garrett's dead, Deathlock's free, and Fallen of Avenger. Oh, I just like the quote that, I like that quote, you know, that Coulson's just like, oh, that was supposed to be saved for the fall of an Avenger, and Fury's just like, it was. Being like, oh yeah, I think you're an Avenger. We need a strong foundation for anything to be built on. You that foundation, Phil, because you got that hot. And I just love that scene. I just really like that emotion. I do think Coulson lets Fury off just a little too easily, as though he could have, but he did give him a plane and some other stuff to bring back from the dead. So I guess he shouldn't be that upset about it. I like that we now have Director Coulson at the end of this episode, which I think is also a little, it's kind of funny too now that I think about it in hindsight though, because, you know, Fury hands over the reins to S.H.I.E.L.D., but then there's the other set of S.H.I.E.L.D. we meet at the later in the season who called themselves the real S.H.I.E.L.D. So I think it's kind of interesting that you get that little dynamic introduced just straight at the end of this season as we lead into that next season where we deal with that stuff a little bit more. The last couple notes I have written down is, yeah, Coulson starts the writing and the playground. I like that they finally get another base. I like that they keep hopping bases too. It's really interesting because we get to see these different things and what they can do with the different facilities, even though most of them just end up being concrete underground things. I just like the names they come up with them, to be honest. It's interesting. And then, yeah, Coulson's writing, we see it ended off with him doing that carving. I already said that I don't exactly remember where that storyline, exactly how it plays out. I remember some of the bits, but I'm really excited to get to the second season to learn more about that and to just revisit with these characters again for another season. But overall, I just really loved this first season. This season finale was great. But guys, let me know in the comments below what you thought of this season finale. Did you love it? Did you only like it? What were your favorite bits? Let me know in the comments below your guys' thoughts. Thanks for joining me today, guys, and thanks for joining me for this whole first season. We'll be starting season 2 next Thursday, next Thursday, when I'll be starting season 2, episode 1. Be sure to join me for that as well. Thanks again, guys, and have a good one.